Let's talk about gacha games. Freaking gacha games. They're everywhere lately. Often draped in the beloved IP, be it video games or anime. They're freaking everywhere. Everybody, lots of people love gacha games. Lots of people love them. They make a crap ton of money. And it's sickening, guys. It's sickening. I find it sickening. You want to know why I find it sickening? Because gacha games are not real video games. That's why. They're a hollow, shallow, cynical experience that is designed solely to take your money. And that is all. That is it. At the core of their existence, that is all they are. They are just games designed to take your money. Because they're not games at all. They're gambling machines. They're gambling machines disguised as video games. I mean, I think this is pretty well documented at this point, but I think it bears repeating that they are bullshit. They are crap. Over here we have Madoka Magica, Majaya, etc. Now this is one of my favorite anime of all time. Madoka Magica is my favorite shoujo anime, and I think the title is kind of funny. Majaya, etc. Etc. sounds like an allergy medication or something you take for a headache, like Excedrin or something. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. They took one of my favorite anime of all time. They turned it into a gotcha game because, of course, they did. Now, I'm not saying there isn't, new Madoka stuff coming out that actually has value, like the new Madoka movie that's coming out soon. So, I mean, it's not like this is coming out in place of that or anything, mind you, but still, it still saddened me to see that instead of a new game, a new proper video game with Madoka characters in it, like I would have loved a really cool. When I first saw the trailer for this, when I first saw the trailer for this Madoka game, of course, as is often the case, I saw the graphics, I saw the presentation, because these gotcha games always look good. They always look beautiful. They always have really gorgeous graphics and combat and gameplay, and you think to yourself, wow, is this a real video game? Am I looking at a Madoka RPG? Look at these gorgeous cel-shaded graphics. It looks like the show. And then, of course, I play it, I download it, and of course, the first red flag is that it's free to play. And I'm like, uh-oh. Because I would have been happy to pay for it. I have no problem paying for video games when it's a real freaking video game. But that's the immediate red flag with gotcha games. And what leads you to know that it's a gotcha game right off the bat is it's free to play. Right. Even though your time or your money is going to be wasted, potentially both. Um, so yeah, I found out pretty quickly after downloading it on my phone, and I don't even like phone games to begin with. I'm not a mobile cell phone gamer guy. I don't like playing games on my cell phone. But this is one of a couple of gotcha games that I did try that were only available on mobile. And I thought, okay, maybe it's a real video game? No. It's always, especially with anime, because, gotcha games often use anime characters as the gambling reward. Your reward for all your gambling is unlocking beautiful new waifu girls of some kind. Um, it's just another way to tempt you and lure you in spending freaking money, which is very sad as the massive anime fan that I am. Ed fan of beautiful waifu characters. Um, it's very sickening because, yeah, I love Madoka, and I found out pretty quickly that this was a gotcha game. And as always, you have maybe pretty graphics and combat or whatever, but you also, everything you do is just to coax you into gambling for characters, gambling for new characters to keep making the game interesting, you know? And they're going to keep advertising new characters, they're going to keep releasing new characters, and they're going to keep tempting you to unlock those characters as quickly as possible by pumping as much money as you can into the game. Especially when a lot of those characters sometimes only get released for a limited time, so then you have a time pressure as well, a deadline of sorts for how long you can even unlock that character and gamble for it. And then there's the FOMO, the fear of missing out when other people are putting that money in and unlocking characters faster than you ever will. Because, yes, gacha games are free to play, of course. They're always free to play. But the problem is, if you don't spend money on gacha games, and I never do, every gacha game I've ever tried, I never spend money on them. But even if you don't, the problem is, at some point, maybe sooner or later, depending on the gacha game you're playing, you are going to reach a point where you don't want to play anymore because the game takes so long to reward you for anything you do. It takes so long to unlock anything just by playing the game the normal way without spending money that you're just wasting your time. It becomes a freaking grind. It just becomes a slow grind where you just keep doing the same monotonous gameplay over and over. If it gets very repetitive and you start to realize, oh, there's no interesting pacing or structure here like there would be in a proper video game because you hit a wall after like some kind of prologue or some kind of opening hours where the game just keeps, it'll reward you a lot in the beginning, but the more time you spend with it, the more gacha games are just going to become a slow grind because all they want you to do is spend money, and that's why all these gacha games have terrible menus loaded with like 40 different ways to spend currency in the game that then requires you to spend real money, uh, different bonuses and login deals for how you can. It's just a mess. There's just all these different things that pop up on the screen, and it's all just different ways to give the game money. And then you realize, wow, there's a lot of stuff distracting me from even enjoying this as a proper video game. If it was a proper video game, the menus would be nice and clean and simple, and it wouldn't be a mess. But so much work is put into the game, the gambling side of the game, which is what it really is, that yeah, you get distracted. You can't just enjoy the game. You can't if you're just looking for like how do I equip this item and you go into the menu and it's like constantly barraging you with all these different ways to spend your money and gamble for this new character that you really, really want because look how cool the character is, uh, it becomes a problem. And then you start to realize, you know, at the center of this so called video game is just an empty shell. It's just a slot machine trying to take your money. And it's happening with a lot of franchises now. I mean, Monaco is one example, but now even Persona, of all things. Frickin' Persona, bro. Persona the Phantom X, they're calling it. A spin off Persona game that is just, of course, another gacha game. Even though it looks really cool, the artwork looks really cool, it looks like a new Persona game. It just looks like it could be another kick-ass Persona game, but no, it's just a gacha game. It's just a gacha game wearing the skin of Persona. You know, it's just a gacha game disguised as something really good, and it's sickening, bro. I'm just so tired, and I didn't even try this one because I'm at a point now where I'm just like, I don't even want to try these anymore. I'm just so fed up with gacha games. They're all the same. They're all the freaking same. You know, I see it this way. At the end of the day, I don't have a problem with taking something I love. I don't have a problem with companies taking something I love, a beloved IP or franchise or characters I love, and putting them on a t-shirt, putting them on a coffee mug. You know what I mean? Like, I understand merchandising and advertising and, somebody might defend it and say, well, what's the harm in putting something beloved on a gambling game, Well, the difference there is, a t-shirt has value whether it has your favorite thing on it or not. It's fashion. A coffee mug has value. Even if the coffee mug doesn't have Persona on it, or Monica or anything else I love, that coffee mug is still good for a good damn cup of coffee. That stuff has value regardless. So just taking something I love and draping it over it is okay, that's value. But when you take something cynical like gambling, and you're taking something I love and just draping it over a glorified slot machine, that's where I take issue. Of course, a lot of this just comes down to how you feel about gambling to start with, but I think I made it clear where I stand on that. I think gambling is a waste of goddamn time and or money. It's just you're throwing money away, bro. It's a bad habit. It's a bad thing to get into. You know, you might think, oh, I'm just going to take $60 to a pretty casino for one night and see all the pretty lights. And if I lose all that $60, well, that's fine because, at least I got to see the pretty lights and just, have a good time at the casino. Okay, but what happens when you start saying to yourself, I'm going to start doing that every week? Yeah, then what? Then before you know it, you might be losing that $60 every time, but you're so into the gambling fixation, the sensation of it, that you start doing it more and more and more and more frequently. And before you know it, you're not just losing $60 anymore in a single night. You're losing a lot of freaking money every month. And that's how I see gotcha games. It's a slippery slope. Like everybody says, it's a slippery slope. And I've never put a single dime into any of them because I tried my best to, almost like an experiment, I tried my best to enjoy these games without having to spend money, to see if it's possible. And I always just, after like maybe a couple of days, maybe even a couple of weeks, if it's something like Genshin Impact, even one of the best gotcha games I've played, after a little while, after like a week, I lost interest because I realized the game wasn't rewarding me often enough unless I was putting money into it. And there are far better video games that require no gambling whatsoever that reward you constantly just for playing it. Uh, why play gotcha games? That's the question. Why? Of course, a lot of people could say it's just because they like pretty sexy waifu girls and they want to play a video game that keeps rewarding them with pretty sexy waifu girls. Um, and here's the thing: there's plenty of ways to enjoy sexy waifu characters in video games, guys, without having to gamble for them. You know, play some Senran Kagura if you just want a gaggle of pretty waifus, to fawn over and enjoy in a video game, and you could do that for free. Once you pay for the game, you get all those characters. I mean, yeah, it's not like a gotcha game where for several freaking years they're going to keep rewarding you with endless waifus that you have to keep gambling for, but I mean, I don't know, man. Less is more in this case. I'd rather just have a complete package that gives me cool waifu characters to play around with, uh, without having to be on a constant hamster wheel where I keep throwing money away over and over again. You know, there are plenty of other ways to enjoy beautiful waifus. Watch your favorite animes. Play good actual like anime games that have, because anime especially, unfortunately, because of the way gotcha games work, uh, anime is especially kind of been exploited for this trend in gaming, and that's really sad as somebody who, again, is such a big anime fan. And I myself fawn over waifus all the time. You guys know I'm a man of culture when it comes to waifu girls, but still, there are plenty of other ways to enjoy that shit, guys, to get your rocks off when it comes to pretty anime girls, okay? You don't gotta play gambling games. You don't gotta throw your life savings away just to unlock these characters in these video games. Just play something else. Play a real video game, okay? Play Stellar Blade. Play Senran Kagura. Play a real Persona game. Just play something. Anything but gotcha games. Gotcha needs to go away forever. It is crap. You guys, of course, can tell me in the comments how you feel about it. If you defend gotcha games, maybe you have a defense that I haven't heard yet. But yeah, I know where I stand on them. But till next time, you get to burning and live for the passion.